Next question is, I heard Sheikh Hamza translating the Quranic word taqwa to God consciousness. Some imams in Italy still prefer the meaning of quote-unquote fear or being afraid or frightened. I would like to know the basis of this choice, why and how. Thank you.
Well, yeah. First of all, when we do these, there aren't really translations, they're interpretations. And that's why A.J. Arbery, despite the fact that he was a Christian, as far as I know, he may have been a crypto-Muslim, and Allahu Alam. I mean, he seems to indicate that in his introduction. But A.J. Arbery, I think, was one of the few quote-unquote translators of the Quran that really got it right, because he said an interpretation of the Quran. Because you cannot translate the Quran. There's far too many nuanced meanings in Arabic. And then the thing about Arabic, in some ways it's the most precise of languages. In other ways, it's a very ambiguous, because it allows for multiple interpretations. Like many things, I mean, language is like that. Language is very hard to pin down. And this is, I mean, Derrida created a whole philosophy out of the impossibility of pinning down words, because words are self-referential. You know, you look up a word, like if you look up a word in the dictionary, you know, like pool, and so you look that up, it'll say a basin of water, you know, and then you look up basin, it says something that holds water. You know, so, and this actually, when you study material logic, you'll really understand why Derrida is completely wrong, because concept precedes words. And so the concept is grasped. The word is just a way to articulate the concept that precedes the word. And this is why thought precedes language. It's hard for people to grasp that, but thought actually precedes language. So language is a vehicle. So I would, what do you think?
We had this discussion yesterday.
Oh, mashallah. Yeah, alhamdulillah. Yeah. So what did he want to know? About taqwa?
Being
translated. So I would say taqwa is one of those words that is a comprehensive word in the Quran. Probably the closest word is pietas, the Latin word, which is used for, which we use in English, piety. And piety is dutiful obedience. You know, it's kind of, so in that way you're God conscious, you're aware of your duties, so you're fulfilling your duties, you're conscientious, and so that's how, you know, a God conscious person is going to fulfill, because they're aware of God. I mean, the Prophet ﷺ said that ihsan was an ta'budullah ka'annaka tarahu, to worship Allah as if you see Him, and if you don't see Him, you know that He sees you. That's a God consciousness that is going to, I mean, I'll give you a really good example. Okay, most of us, not all of us, but most of us speed on the highway, right? Like, I don't, sometimes. But most of us do. But if we see a policeman, suddenly we're like going the speed limit. You always see the red lights go on, right? Everybody's like cruising down the highway, and suddenly all these red lights go on, and then, oh, you see the black and white. That's because he has police consciousness. So suddenly he's obeying, he becomes consciously aware of the police, and then he becomes dutiful. He fulfills his duty to drive at the speed limit. Well, that in essence is what God consciousness is, that you're always aware of God, and so you're always going to follow the rules, which is what taqwa is. Because hasidu taqwa, Ibn Ashur says, hasidu taqwa ijtinabun wa imtithal fi zahirin wa batinin bidha tunal. Like, it is an awareness of God that you fulfill your obligations and you avoid the prohibitions, because you're consciously aware. So that's why I like that term, but it's certainly, there are other terms that could be used for it. I mean, the root word is to prevent or ward off harm. And so in that way, there's kind of a fearful awareness, of harm, the possibility of harm. So they're all interpretations.